Hey guys, I'm Josh Alston.
I'm Jesse Knight.
We are the writers of One More Day, and the artist name is Project 226. And we just wanted to talk a bit about the song, how it came about, what was going on in our lives at the time. And I'll start with this. For me, I have lost my grandmother, my uncle, and at the time, just dealing with those emotions, I started to write this guitar part, which you just heard. And Jesse, I was showing him, and he thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think I had just lost my dad, and there was this real, I had this real need to get out, kind of what I was feeling, and Josh was just playing on the guitar. Me and him were kind of noodling around, coming up with things, brainstorming ideas. And he played this guitar part, and I don't know. It just I was like,
something just clicked.
Yeah. That right there. That's the feel. That's the sound. That's it's not there yet, but that's what I want. I was like, something about it. I don't know if it was just the chord progression, just evoked an emotion, and we kind of had a pull. And that was kind of the start of it, the inception. And then we spent several weeks, months even, just back and forth with
the lyrics, with the chords, with his drum part.
Yeah, and that came much later.
That came much later. But initially, what I really remember is, we were living together at the time, and Jesse's dad had just passed away, and in a terrible way, really, so quickly, and he happened to choose work over going to see his dad one last time. And so for him, he was just in a very vulnerable place,
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's just write about it, and we sat down, and I do think those initial chords were there on that first day.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't change the chord progression at all.
Not at all. We chose the key, and we even had the melody started at the time. And
yep. And I kind of had an idea of the melody and the lyrics of what I wanted, and then I kind of pitched it to him.
Yeah.
And then we just sat and brainstormed, and he just put the guitar on a loop, and we were just okay, what are we trying to say?
Right.
And yeah, it ended up being about loss and grief and how you cope with it, and what you do and the lessons you learn after the fact, because there's a before the event, and then there's an after the event. And what One More Day really highlights is that urge and that want and that yearning for one more moment with the person that you care about, not being able to get that, and just being overwhelmed with those emotions, that finality. And so we really just wanted to encapsulate that in the lyrics.
Encapsulate the time too,
Yeah.
The emotion of the time that we were in, that the world was in. And it really felt like God had walked through the room, we got chills on the back of our spines, and we could tell that something was going on, This was a feeling that not a lot of people talk about, Usually people look to the past, when things like that happen, but we wanted to talk about how we were feeling now, and we felt like at the time, at least, it was something new,
Yeah, and it was so fresh, the event that had happened to me with my dad. We wrote that song a couple months after it happened.
Yeah, it wasn't long after.
It was within 6 months. We had One More Day written, and it was just so fresh, and it needed to come out. It came from a place of necessity.
Absolutely.
Just kind of healing and processing.
And that was really the first time, for both of us, that I think we really felt those emotions, because we had lost people before. Like I said, I had lost my grandmother, I lost my uncle, but at the time, wasn't really super close to them, and I didn't even really get to know my uncle. But being so close with you, and seeing what you were going through, I really started to feel like grief, and it was even new to me. And
yeah, I think that allowed you to take a second and like think back on some of the loss that you hadn't even processed yet.
Yes, exactly.
And so seeing me kind of go through the turmoil, you were like,
right.
oh wow, that's really affecting him. That's
trouble sleeping and just being depressed and like things as a man, is just, you're supposed to be Mr. Cool and like have yourself together, and as a man it's just very vulnerable to go through something like that. And but luckily we had each other.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea of the song, is it's just not much about friendship, I think, as it is grief.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you and I look back on it, that's kind of one of the key things about it, is like we were able to be there for one another and write the song together. So like we kind of have that as a key puzzle piece of like.
Absolutely. Which we have, written music before and tried to write songs, but this was really the first one that was, fully finished. Yeah. We actually went to the studio in Nashville at a place called Two Cats Music with Ben Travis, and, unfortunately we didn't get Jesse to have his real drum set there, so this might be a cool little thing for drummers if you want to explain how that worked.
Yeah, so it's hard. Electronic drums, depending on the price range that you get in your budget, you lose certain functionality, and there's an acoustic realness to a drum. There's a reaction. There's an ability to pull sounds out of a drum set and out of cymbals that doesn't always translate on an electric kit.
Right.
And the cheaper you go down on the budget, the more features they strip back. Luckily, the drum set Ben had was it's pretty good.
Pretty decent, actually.
It was definitely mid-tier. It was probably like a $3,000 electronic drum set, say $2,800 to $3,000. So it had some good functionality, but with electronic drums, you just lose a lot of that.
You lose the little nuances of like a certain cymbal hit, because he's taught me like a cymbal isn't just a one note thing. You can make multiple sounds out of just one cymbal.
Yeah, much like you can bend a note on a guitar.
Right.
You can hit a cymbal at different spots. You can hit, the bell, the bow, the ride. You can hit it really hard. You can hit it soft. And so you can pull these different sounds out. You can add things onto them. Some people add little bead strips to give it like a sizzle. So there's different creative ways you can do things that an electronic drum set just can't. It can't equate.
Right. And what was funny is this was the third time I had been in a studio. The first time he had been in a studio. So he had spent months preparing on a real, acoustic kit. Those little nuances, like you said. So we get there and he has to try to kind of wing it, I guess. And I think that's a bit ironic with the song, like spent so much time, I don't know, working on it, thinking about it, feeling the emotions of it.
How exactly you want it to play out.
Right, just to kind of live in the moment. And I think there's a metaphor in there somewhere, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a fun experience to be able to get a different version of it out there. And then, that's a good segue into the other thing that we realized is that there's different versions of songs. You can have an acoustic version. You can have a regular version, with different elements like drums and piano and such. And we kind of found through having different versions of the song that we really, really enjoyed the acoustic version.
Yes.
Just that natural, the way we originally heard it when you played the guitar.
It just brings up those feelings of, writing it and what we were feeling at the time. And that's okay. Some songs are better acoustically, some are better with the full band. And
right. But we wanted to do both.
So we ended up getting a chance to do both. And, that way, we can enjoy both. You guys, listening can enjoy both. And
we never wanted to take anything away from the audience. Like, we might have our own personal preference, but
sure. Something that was very hard learned for me, over the years, let the ego down a little bit and let,
definitely you have to. A lot of the things that don't make the record end up being, or that do make the record, but you find out later on that the artist took it off the record, or it was on the chopping block.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did one of your best songs almost not make it on the record?
You see it all the time, famous bands. Ocean Avenue is one I can think of where those guys didn't even like the song, didn't want to put it out. And the producer's was like, nope, it's going to be the first single.
It's got to go on there.
Right, But yeah, music really is a journey, and just to talk about the details a little bit, we are friends. We this is the main song that we've written together, but hopefully in the future, there'll be some more songs out there, and we'll see what happens. But the main thing is, this is Jesse Knight, drummer, Josh Alston, singer, rhythm guitar player. This is talking about One More Day, which I think in our books is just might be the best song that we've ever written so far. So far, we'll see.
Best song yet.
Peace out, guys.